Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, one final update before the showcase video of my terrain square piece, my Necron Stonehenge as I'm calling it. I really hope you've enjoyed my series of videos, and I hope you've enjoyed everyone else's entries, many of them of course still in production. I'm obviously sharing as much as I can everyone's terrain pieces on Google+, etc. So if you see one of those shares, then please go on and have a look at that person's channel. Maybe give them a sub for me, that would be great. And of course, if you could go and check out Inside Out Terrain's Facebook page, who are sponsoring this year's competition, that would be also mostly appreciated. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the work I've been doing. So first of all, I started on the actual circuit itself and the barricades. And the barricades are now glued to the actual circle. So I went with some PVA glue, put some PVA glue on the bottom. I did have to scrape some of the previous sand that I put on there off so that it just fitted nice and flat. So I did that, put some PVA glue on. I left them to dry for about 48 hours, just made sure they were really solidly dried. And then, as you can see, I've also gone in and I've added some more sand, basically just to make these barricades sort of blend in with the piece, because they look like they were just like stood there. So now I've gone in, as you can see, I put the sand around the sort of front areas of the barricades just to really make them look as if they've been there, and the sand sort of matches in. So that is that piece. The only thing left to do, of course, now is paint the sand, and that's going to be quite an easy job. I'm just going to go in with black all over the sand, and then I'm going to be dry brushing it with Codex grey. That's just to match my board. So yeah, started with that section. Of course, I do have the tubes. I haven't done anything with the tubes. The tubes basically are finished, but the next time you see them, they will have those crystals glued in. And I will be varnishing my terrain. I still varnish my terrain just to give them that little extra piece of protection. Okay, so let's just bring that circle out of the frame. So next up, I did the little generators. And that is how they are looking. So first of all, I went in, I did some sort of glowing effects on the actual generators themselves. Looking pretty cool, very happy how they came out. Then I glued this section on. Again, there's going to be a crystal in the top. And then I put some sand on there ready to be painted. Again, that's going to be painted black and then dry brushed up with Codex grey. So that's one, and of course I've done the other one as well. So that's how they're looking, and the idea is with this piece of terrain they can go in all different ways. So I can have them on the table like that, I can have them like that, side by side that way, or indeed side by side that way. So I can really change them around, and indeed they can be two separate pieces of like little pieces of scatter terrain. And the idea is that they of course also will have the opportunity to go into the middle of the circle, which is really nice option as well. So that is those pieces pretty much finished apart from the sand. Right, on to the obelisk. The obelisk is now finished, and I did decide in the end to go in with some glowing effects. So I used a tip that I got from 33 Clay Dog quite some time ago about going in with rotten flesh as a next highlight. So I did that around the circular areas, and as you can see, it's really glowing now. I've got that nice sort of glowing ghostly look as such, and I don't know how it's coming out in the camera, but in real life I now feel like it's finished. I don't feel like I have to worry about that pattern on the inside here, which I was umming and ahhing about what to do. I think this is finished off quite nicely. And in my mind's eye, I know it's nothing to do with Necrons, but in my mind's eye, I can see this obelisk being on like a planet where the Enterprise from Star Trek would be visiting. I can imagine Kirk and Spock getting beamed down, investigating this obelisk. Spock's trying to read the these little symbols at the bottom, trying to wonder, you know, what they are, trying to get inside. You can see Kirk like looking up at this glowing symbol, wondering what's going on. So slightly adjacent, but that's sort of how I imagine this piece being on the battlefield. Okay, so that is that one, and finally the Pylon, which I'm happy to say is also finished, and I'm really pleased with it. So let's bring that on. I think I might zoom out a little bit here. There is the Pylon. Actually, it's quite big, so I'm going to lift the camera up. So that is how it's looking. I went into this area here. It's fair to say that the model isn't actually that detailed, but then again, I don't expect it to be. I mean, it was about the 10th of the price of an actual Forge World Pylon, and it's made at MDF. You know, there's only so much that you can do, and it still does have detail. But obviously, the original Pylon has loads of Necron symbols all on it, and it's quite detailed. So I looked how I painted my Forge World one, and I tried to duplicate the colours with that Forge World one. So, like on the legs, for example, down there, my Forge World one, I think it's got a Necron symbol, which I painted gold. So I just painted like a gold area on the legs. And then coming up those sections there, I did like a little glowing effect because I did green on the Forge World one. And then this section here again, I got some detail on here just with the gold, and did this like glowing effect here, just with the central position, just like lighter green. And of course, as I previously said I was going to do, I painted up those sections there on the gun itself. I went in, did some glowing effects on the front of the gun. My original idea was to stick one of those laser cut card crystals in the front of that piece, but I have to be honest, I am umming and ahhing on whether I'm going to do that or not. I haven't tried an actual crystal in there yet to see what it looks like, but I think it looks pretty good as it is. But that crystal may well just bring it into make it basically a little bit more unique. I doubt many other people will put a crystal in there, so I'll have to see. I'm gonna have a play with that crystal and see how it looks. But yeah, that is my update. Like I said, I'm really happy with the work that I've done. Just got to finish off the sand and then varnish it up, glue in the crystals that I'm going to glue in, and then I shall be back for a showcase video of my terrain piece. So there you go. That is it from me. Thanks for watching, of course, as always, and I shall see you in the next video.